Let's meet tonight's guests now. We've got a wonderful sofa for you this evening. Stacy Dooley, Josh Widdicombe and Dara Briain.
Hey.
Welcome.
Welcome to the show.
My word.
Classic trio.
You all gang back together.
Yeah, you all know each other very well, don't you, at the minute?
Yeah.
I mean, Josh, we're going to be talking about your and Dara's project in just a moment.
Yeah.
But, Stacey, you were teammates very recently, I hear you and Josh.
Josh and I, yeah, we've done a couple of gigs
I heard.
together.
Did it go well, Josh?
Yeah, it was all
Enjoyable
right. We did
experience?
Rob Beckett Smart TV and Stacey, you lost us the
I did lose us the quiz. I was so certain that I had it right.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
I got it very wrong.
Still
You
not
sound
over
like
it.
you're fine about it, though, Josh.
No, it's totally, you know, it's just a game at the end of the day, isn't it? If you want to win it or lose it.
And we're all close.
Stacey wants to lose it, doesn't she?
He's really not let it go, has he? Wow. And you and Dara are going to be working together very soon as well, I hear.
Yes. Next week, Desert Island Discs Live, London
Yes.
Palladium.
You
Very
scared me for a
excited.
minute there.
No, I
You
know.
looked at me like-
It's in the diary, I haven't worried. It's good. Yes, because we did a Desert Island Disc, and the chance of doing that kind of conversation in front of 2,000 people in the London Palladium is great. I mean, really,
Well, looking forward to it, can't wait. But Stacey, I want to come to you first because you are back with a brand new series of Stacy Dooley Sleeps Over. Now, for anyone who hasn't seen previous series, you move in with a family. It's usually quite an unconventional family setup, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
And you get an insight into their lives. Now, who do you meet this time around?
That's exactly right. So I arrive on the Friday and it's quite intense, it's quite immersive, and then I leave on the Monday. The first episode, I hung out in a brothel. It's really interesting, in Nevada. The second episode, two mums and a dad under the one roof. And the third episode, polygamists. So 2 wives and a husband. And the husband, Jeff, is actively searching for a third wife.
Well, I think we can actually see a moment when Stacey puts quite an awkward question to Jeff.
Oh, okay.
He of the 2 wives.
I'm trying to get my head around this unfamiliar lifestyle that the law and Mormon church condemns. And whose bed are you in tonight, Jeff?
Can't remember.
I believe it would be mine. Kids know.
It's a terrible thing if I forget that.
Yeah. We'll remind you.
I know.
We'll spend a few minutes in my room tonight saying goodnight, and then he'll go to Vanessa's room.
Oh, so typically that's what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, Stacey, the dynamic of these families, I mean, it is really interesting. But, you know, like, before you kind of went into it, did you have any preconceived ideas? Because I'm assuming when you tell friends or family about this project, there's a lot... it's a conversation starter, isn't it?
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
no, for sure. And the thing is, right, I always try and go in, like, open-minded. You have to try and sort of... Because there's no point going in and thinking, oh, I think X, Y and Z. Otherwise, the conversation,
That's
you know, it
exactly
doesn't...
how you approached our quiz.
Still not let it go.
I just seem to have a good time. yeah. But Jeff, I mean, I suppose Jeff's a good example of this. I like hanging out with people that I don't necessarily understand or agree with, you know, and I think increasingly we've lost that art to hang out with people that are different to us. And, I mean, on paper, he's a bit of a misogynist and a bit of a hypocrite in many respects, but he was a good sport and he was very candid and he was very accommodating, and I love it. I truly love this series. It's a really, really fun gig. Yeah, it's really fun.
Well, as JJ says, it's fascinating, and it's lucky that you're open-minded and kind of see where the conversation goes, because you never really know what's going to happen next. You actually ended up meeting someone from your hometown of Luton while you were out there.
But how random is this? So I'm in South Dakota.
Yeah.
And I'm living with this family who have been sort of rejected from their mainstream sort of Mormon church. And he's going, I just need a third wife. I don't feel like this family's complete. So he says, I've been talking to this lady that I quite like. There's something there. And he zooms her, and I promise you this was not set up, it wasn't produced in any way. And he was having, look, he's having a conversation with the lady. He said, she's from the United Kingdom. And I was like, oh, what part? And she went, I'm from Luton. I went, what? And, like, she was, like, legit from Luton.
Did she go like, oh, my God, are you Stacey
Yeah,
Dooley?
she was like, Stacey. And I was like, oh, all right. Yeah. But it was like, you know, she was genuinely sort of getting to know Jeff. And
Did they get together?
Well, I said to her, what is it that you find appealing about this? Because, you know, lots of people might not understand this kind of dynamic. And she made a really valid point. She said, look, I'm a single mother. And my main priority is my kids, and I sort of hate the idea of when I'm not around anymore, him not having a maternal figure. So in this instance, he would have 2 mums, and I'd have sister wives.
Yeah.
And I think you also assume that the women are going to be sort of
Clashing.
at each other the whole time. They were really tight. Really, really lovely. Yeah.
It's fascinating stuff. Stacy Dooley, Sleeps Over USA. It's going to be on Sunday at 9 p.m. on W and UK TV Play, and all previous series are available to stream for free on UK TV Play.
Well, time to talk about a story that I know very well, actually, because it features an unknown amateur footballer who somehow managed to play 53 minutes in the Premier League. Now, he's a subject of Josh and Dara's new podcast. Please explain this to people, Josh.
1996, kind of the Premier League's just starting, and Southampton manager Graham Souness gets a phone call from the World Footballer of the Year, George Weah, who says, my cousin's really good at football, give him a trial. This guy shows up. It's probably not his cousin. It's just some bloke.
Yeah.
There's an injury crisis at Southampton. They have to put him on the bench. Then their star player, Matt Letizia, gets injured in the match. He goes on. He plays in the Premier League despite whoever's phoned up, whatever his background is, wherever he's come from. He's not good enough. He almost scores, not good enough, gets taken off after 3 minutes, disappears, never gets seen of again.
I mean...
It's an astonishing story. And it also, within the context of a product we know to be really polished and smooth and shiny and big business and money, there was a time when the Premier League started where you could bluff your way onto the team. Well, and particularly in the context of African football.
Exactly, because the backstory to that bit of it goes back to a World Cup game, England versus Cameroon, Italia 90?
Italia 90, Cameroon appeared on the world stage, beat Argentina, Roger Miller, people fell in love with football from Africa for the first time, then other teams came from Nigeria. George Weah, genuinely, the one who probably wasn't on the phone that day, was the greatest footballer in the world at the time. But there was a sense of, it was a frontier for football, so there wasn't a scouting network there or whatever, so you could possibly have found a diamond in the rough here, so there was enough vagueness. It was the perfect time for this exact... And we can't work out whether we think it's a heist movie or
I think it's a heist. It's one of the greatest heists of all time.
Whereas I think it's somebody who just got over-promoted and then
like a comedy to me. I've known this story for years and always struggled to kind of get my head around it, because the big thing is, this was an era, as you were mentioning, Dara, where agents were operating in a different type of way. But I suppose, you still had to turn up to training, is what always baffles me about this story.
Well, maybe it's not as difficult to be a footballer as you think,
Maybe anyone can.
Maybe anyone.
That is a margin. Anyone, if they wanted enough, can just play football.
Yeah, it's like TV presenting, isn't it?
Read the words.
We've all had a go.
Yeah. Now, Josh, you managed to secure an interview with Southampton manager Graham Souness, who brought Ali to the team at the time. Now, he's never really talked about it much.
He's not properly talked about it before. His autobiography doesn't mention it.
Yeah.
What did he tell you?
And you'll be aware, he's a scary man.
Yeah, he was my manager, wasn't he? Yeah, so I came across a few
Did you ever ask him about it?
Never. No, I'm not stupid.
You did? What did he say?
He was genuinely... He was quite kind of, I'd say... He was respectful.
Yeah, he was. I wouldn't say he's owning the mistake. But he was. He gave the guy his credit. They looked at him for a while. He isn't quite up to the same level, like whatever But he doesn't go, well, the phone rang. And I just went, sure, let's go for it.
I don't think, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think in any other business, maybe you'd go, this is a hilarious thing that happened. But in sport, there's a lot of ego and competition. Yeah. And I'm not over-competitive, you know that, Stacey.
No, I know that. Not how I'd describe you at all, Josh.
On that note, not only have you created this investigative podcast, you're also working on another series of Hold the Front Page. So this is you and Nish Kumar going to work at a different local newspaper each week. And I think it got quite competitive and a bit messy in Bradford.
It did, yeah. We went Christian wrestling.
OK, so in this clip, which one are you?
Excuse me?
Which one am I?
Yes.
I am... Nish is the one pretending he's got a broken finger so he can't do it. And I am the one that gets body slammed and winded while dressed as Eve from Adam and Eve.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Look at that.
It looks extraordinarily painful. Are they stunt falls or is that the real stuff?
That's the real stuff. What do you think? That's actually me.
Wow. Yeah, I know it is you, but it's not you actually. I mean, also, is this what journalists do in local papers, get thrown around the ring?
Yes,
it's a fair
Dara,
point.
Okay.
Fair point.
They do two things. They do that, and they expose footballers pretending not to be footballers.
Right, well, the 53 Minutes podcast is available on Global Player and wherever you get your podcasts. And Hold the Front Page Series 2 launches on the 24th of April on Sky Max and Now. Before we go, I wanted to ask you... In fact, you know what? I'm going to ask Stacey as the award-winning journalist on the sofa, actually.
Yes.
So we mentioned Ali, right, from the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
What would you have said to him if, for example, they managed to get him on the podcast? Would you have asked him any specific question?
Oh, I mean...
How many wives do you have, Ali?
How do you
And Ali's going,
feel about polygamy?
podcast is this?
I didn't think this is what we were talking about.
it's a tricky
that
one, though,
might
isn't
be
it?
the only, because given he's been really enigmatic about talking about it, if we brought him on and asked him about his love life, he might go, can I talk about the match now?
Very left field.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the approach you need to take.
A bit of reverse psychology.
That's it.
I think that's a good follow-up. You move in for the weekend with Ali Shah.
I could do a
Both
weekend
of the
with.
programmes come together.
There we go. It's a follow-up.
The
It's a
same
follow-up.
universe, the
Can
same
I tell you?
cinematic
Get some
universe.
conjunctivitis in there, it'd be perfect.
It's waiting to be made. What a commission.
Right, we've got a couple of comments here for you. Helen has said that, I'm excited for your new doc, Stacey. You're a TV goddess.
That's super cool.
And
Very
James
nice.
says, loved celebrating St Patrick's Day with Dara, seeing you live this weekend. Thank you to all our guests tonight.
Yes, we'll be here tomorrow with Watchdog, Jordan North and Bridgerton's Nicola Coughlan. We'll see you then. Goodbye.
Good night.